Hi everyone. Today again, Sean and Beck, and today we're gonna be talking about very controversial topic: uh, how not to be a nice guy, or as we call it, not try to be liked. So, Sean, what are
Hey,
your
Beck.
thoughts?
Yeah, this is such a great topic, and I think it's something that affects so many men right now. There are so many men in the world today who are stuck, and a lot of that comes down to trying too hard to be liked. The reality is that most men don't lose women, don't lose in dating because they're bad guys. It's because they're trying too hard to get approval and to be liked.
Yeah, and I think this is where men lose their polarity, right? And it's when they men are confused because with the whole society trying to redefine what masculinity is, men keep going. It's like, I should be nice or should be direct or different. Excuse me. So,
Bless you.
thank you. So, it's like the truth coming up. We have a saying: when somebody sneezes, it means this is confirmation of us speaking the truth, right? So if we go, men today are confused. So should I be nice? Should I be dominant? Or I should be emotional? And
Mhm.
when men have a mixed signals, any woman would feel that, and she'd be like, "What is this guy about? What where he stands? You know, it's like something on women. It's like they don't think logically, but on some intuitive level, they understand that something is off, and that self doubt where man doesn't have a true self identity, then it's kind of hard. And then I think the attraction doesn't come from the desire to be liked. I think attraction comes from a place where you have a self confidence in who you are. When you are in your own zone, when you are true to yourself, and then being grounded to yourself.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And a lot of men struggle to understand why they're not getting the attention and getting the interest from women that they want to have in their lives. And the attraction that they want to experience, that they want to feel, it comes down to these behaviors and to these patterns. And so when a man isn't grounded in himself and his own truth, he might just agree with everything that a woman says because he thinks, well, if I agree with her, she's going to think that, oh, well, he thinks like me. So I like him. But the reality is that women are attracted to a little bit of friction, a little bit of tension, challenging her opinions, not in like a demeaning way, but in a way that has her think about things in a different way and has her see a man as someone who has his own truth, his own opinions, which is very attractive.
Yeah, and I think the most important part, you have to be a leader, and leaders don't necessarily always agree. So, this is one of the attributes of leadership that I always talk about. You get to lead, but also you can be led by others too, because that's a part of the leadership to be able to work as a team. But at the same time, you need to have your own opinion, your own space, and be grounded in your own truth. Not as a being an asshole, but in a being like, look, I love you, I respect you, but I have certain things that I need to do. And women get that. So that for men, when you're predictable, when you get out of your ways to please a woman, you become boring to her. But if she knows that you're not so easily can be conquered, that you have your own space, And if you made a arrangement with your friends to go watch a game, and she called you and said, "Hey, you want to come hang out with me?" And if you cancel it and run to her, that shows her, "Hey, you know what? He's tamed." And in the eyes of a woman, you become very boring because you're easy to get. But if you hold your space and say, "Hey, honey, I love you, but today I've already planned with my buddies. We're going to go out, have beers, and watch a game," then it shows to her, she's like, "Wow, this guy holds his own space. He doesn't fall into this emotional sandbox, where, like, oh, I have to run every time she calls me." So he's not like so emotionally dependent on pleasing her. So I think this is one of the important parts for me. You
Mm.
get to decide. Don't ask permission to do things that you want in your life. You make an agreement if you like in a relationship. Uh, so yeah, and Sean, we another thing, something that's actually leads men trying to be liked is emotional neediness. You want to elaborate on that? What do you think that is?
Yeah, I think that can show up in different ways, and it can really sabotage a man's chances with a woman. And I think in today's day and age, over texting is one of the biggest ways that men do this. And it can be the volume of texting, can be the timing of texting, it can be kind of something that you were talking about. It can signal an over degree of availability. Having, as a man, having our own life, having our own priorities in place and our own path is highly attractive. And if we're always available, always there to respond right away, to give our time, all the time to her, that's a sign of emotional neediness. It's an example of that.
Yeah,
And I think another way is when men are looking for assurance or approval from a woman, wanting to feel that what they're doing is okay, which ties into what you said about permission, seeking permission, rather than leading and being decisive and saying to himself and to her, this is where we're going. And I'm not looking for you to tell me yes. And then another thing that affects men tremendously is just overthinking, being stuck, being frozen, which ties also into the seeking of reassurance. Like, okay, well, do I do it this way? Do I do that way? Which path do I go down?
yeah. So,
And
uh huh.
uh, uh, the thing is, she's not she's not losing attraction because you care. She can lose attraction because she feels like she's responsible for your emotional state, and she doesn't want to carry that weight.
Yeah. So let's talk and be clear. A nice guy. It doesn't mean that he's like a nice guy versus grounded man. Not being a nice guy doesn't mean you're a toxic man. No, what it means to me. So if I'm grounded in my sovereignty, it means I make a time to be with my partner, but I also have my own life, which I live. Those are my interests and things that I do. And I don't have the emotional neediness to get approval from her, which comes out as like every time she calls me or texts me, I rush to respond to her text or to run to her every time she says, "Okay, let's do this, let's do that," right? And then let's talk about the attributes of the nice guys, right? Nice guy avoids the conflict. Yes, conflict is not good, but if you're feeling avoiding the conflict and that's compromising who you are, then that's not good. That will create a toxic relationship because you need to set the boundaries, and sometimes it involves a conflict. Um, you don't go out and seeking approval for everything that you do. I think this is a very big thing for us, like we're always looking for approval. Oh, tell me I'm a good guy. And then sometimes, because he does not want, a man doesn't want to be disliked by his partner, by his girlfriend, he hides the truth, he lies. And I think it's better be honest and open about your needs and how we do things. And I think these are the very important parts. But that it doesn't mean that you're an asshole. It means it's just you have your own space and you respect your own space, and at the same time you respect other person's space.
Yeah, it's not being an asshole. It's being grounded. And grounded men, they speak their truth calmly, not with intensity, with emotion, with resentment, just speaking with from a place of knowing their own truth and not needing her to validate it, not needing her to think that's her truth too. This is my truth. Grounded men can let other people have their own truth as well. And another really big thing is boundaries. That's a hallmark of the nice guy is not having any boundaries, accepting whatever he gets. Because the nice guy thinks if he accepts it, then he's going to continue to have that connection and be liked. But the reality is that not having boundaries is a sign of weakness, which women run away from. They're
They
attracted
do
to
want a
men.
man that can protect his space and his boundaries. If she gets to live with someone, this is something that she wants, right?
That's right. And she also wants a man who's willing to walk away.
Yeah.
If she does not honor and respect his boundaries, because that's the ultimate. The ultimate sign and test is, can I walk away if I'm not being respected?
So being able to walk away, it shows that your sovereignty in who you are is more important to you, is very important to you. And I think this is where we make a mistake when we say, oh, well, I have to compromise my personality in order to have this relationship. Yes, we do some kind of compromise, but not on the important things in our life. And we have to be very clear where we don't want to compromise, because this is exactly what kills the relationship. That's what I believe. So, these are the key lines of a sovereign man. You're not trying to win her, and you're not trying to keep her. So, what you are trying to do is being yourself. And if being yourself together with her, if you being yourself makes her more comfortable and be in a good space with you, and you being yourself helps her to feel that herself comfortable, she doesn't have to pretend to be someone else, you don't have to pretend someone else. I think this is a perfect match.
Mm,
And there are, of course,
absolutely.
places, there are things that we can compromise on, but those are not like main principal things. And I think this is where men get to be very clear what they choose. And I think a lot of people don't realize that it makes or breaks a relationship. So when you are in a relationship or you're getting into a relationship, ask yourself all those questions. The question of the boundaries, how much is it? Is she in her space? Are you being yourself? Or are you pretending to be somebody else? So yeah.
Yeah. And just as an example, the distinction between the nice guy and a grounded man, the nice guy, where he's coming from is not wanting to upset her, wanting to maintain the peace, not wanting to avoid intensity, wanting to avoid conflict, wanting to avoid her being upset at him. And the grounded man, where he's coming from is, I respect her, I might love her, but I'm not going to betray myself. And that's the line he holds. And she feels the difference in a very big way. And rejection, which we've talked about before in the previous episode,
Uh huh.
this is another. It's to bring that back again in the context of this conversation, because the nice guy trying to not upset her, really underneath that, he's afraid of the rejection, of her leaving. And really what it is that they're afraid of, it's not the rejection, it's what that rejection says about who they are. It's the belief that is triggered by the rejection, the belief of I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not attractive to her, I failed. It's
Yeah, but
triggering those beliefs
yeah,
that is really what is the core of the fear of the rejection.
but I think rejection is not a judgment; it's filtering. You know, she's not interested. It means it does not mean that you're a bad guy or not a good guy or not good
Uh,
enough guy.
hmm.
Maybe it just means she's not your person. But men take it as identity damage. If someone says no to them, they say, "Oh my God, then I'm not a good man," or I'm not like a powerful enough guy. So yeah, the men, uh, yeah. So and then men go down just with that, trying to deal with this identity damage. And I remember how many times I had to look into the situation when a woman said no to me, not because she didn't like me, she just didn't feel I was the right person for her, but she liked me. But I took it as the end of the world, and yeah, and I went down. And then it took me time. And then I was afraid to go into the next relationship and try dating again because I thought, well, this person rejected me. Maybe I'm a bad guy, and the next person will say again, I'm a bad guy.
Yes, I can relate to that as well. And when, as men, when we're living from a fear of rejection, we're actually unconsciously being controlled by it.
Yeah, totally. And this is where we mess up as men. As I mentioned earlier, we shut down completely. We go internally. We stop taking risks. And or we overcompensate every time then we try a new relationship because we're afraid of rejection. We try to be liked too much, and that kills the polarity, that kills the relationship. Women not necessarily like the yes men. They might say that, but that's not true.
Yeah, and they don't want a man who is emotionless either, but they don't want to be carrying all of your emotions. So there's a necessity for men to do that work of understanding themselves, of going deeper and taking responsibility for themselves and their work and their emotions, which is a very important piece of this. And just as an example, to distinguish here between weak and grounded behavior. Weak behavior is I it's being lost, it's being confused, it's looking for direction outside, whereas grounded is there's something that I am dealing with inside, some emotion, some challenge, and I can express it and communicate it to her. But I'm also with that expression, letting her know that I am handling this. I'm telling you what I have going on, but I'm not looking to you to fix it or take care of it for me, for you to be my mom.
Yeah, share the truth, but be grounded in your space and say, hey, I got it. I see it. We're not a match. And I can handle it. I can handle a no. And I
Yeah.
think that shows the true masculine power and alchemy.
Yeah, and earlier we were talking about over texting. I want to come back to that because I think that's a big problem I see in men in terms of their success in dating. And why is it that men are texting so much and over texting? And a lot of it really comes down to being anxious. It's underneath the surface, there's this desire to maintain a sense of control and to try to make sure that they feel that they're keeping the connection alive. And double texting, it's like this term, right? I mean, like just like ghosting, like we have all this new vernacular around texting. But when you send a text and you don't hear back, and then 30 minutes later, oh, send another text. Because where is that coming from? It's coming from anxiety about her not responding,
That's
wanting to feel in
correct.
control. And then over explaining is another one where there's a challenge from a woman, and what do? They want to send a whole book about what happened and why they did what they did, which isn't necessary. It's too much. And even just trying to, again, going back to the whole topic of trying to be liked, communicating from a place of wanting to be interesting to her, wanting to say the right thing so that she's gonna like me. These are all just stop.
Yeah, red flag. Attraction grows in space, not in constant contact. So the art of giving each other a space is the big one. I would invite all the men to meditate on that.
Yes. Yes. And if as a man you're looking for that constant reassurance, then you've already lost.
Yeah, and I want to say leadership is very simple. It's a direction, it's not a control. And for example, you don't say, "What do you want to do?" You say, "Hey, I know a great place. Let's go. You'll like it." You take a lead. She can say no, and then you can negotiate. But then you take a lead. And women want that. A lot of them don't like making decisions. So if you've noticed, every human being, men and women, have to make so many decisions in their lives. And then when it comes to relationships, she has to make another decision again that's like a burden for her. But if you
Mhm.
take a lead and say, "Listen, I know where we're going, don't worry about it, let's do it," and she will feel like she's taken care of.
Yeah. And once you're there, like let's say you make plans for a date and you're taking a route, on the date itself, a lot of men do this wrong. They're trying too hard. They're sharing all their like the highlights of their life, all the reasons they think that they're great. And they think it's working because they think this is what's going to impress her, but it really is backfiring because it shows. It shows, and it's actually underneath that is insecurity of who I really am as a person isn't enough. I need to prove my worth. So instead of trying to impress, instead of trying to treat the date like an interview, which there's no attraction and polarity when there's an interview, just work on being present and connecting with her, wanting to come from a place of I wanna learn about who this person is.
Yeah. Leadership is not dominance, it's a quietly taking certain direction, right? So it's like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think wrapping this up, right?
right.
Just to sum up, the core of our message here is, as a man, if you're listening and you're trying to be liked by a woman, you're losing. You're losing the battle, and just stop trying to be liked. That's the message.
The main thing is stop performing. Be who you are. Even if it feels uncomfortable at the beginning, because when you're real and authentic, this is where attraction starts. And sometimes even at the meeting, I say like first time or second time, you say, "Oh man, I'm so like anxious a little bit because we're meeting because I like you so much." Even that is honest and authentic. Don't try to pretend to be a cool guy. Uh, stop performing. And I think women don't want a perfect man. They want a man who's honest, authentic, and grounded.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Good topic, good talk, good discussion. I hope that this really serves a lot of men out there who are struggling with finding the connection with women that they're looking for and the success in their dating lives, whatever that looks like, that they're seeking.
be real, be grounded. Just don't be weird. That's all.
Or be weird. If you're weird, be weird.
But if you're weird, be authentic weird. That it's
Be
you, not
weird.
made up,
Yeah.
not a performance weird. Your
Don't
own
perform.
authentic weird, right?
Be
All right,
weird.
man. Go be brave. Go get into those dating meetings. Right? Is that what it's called? Yeah. Go like date and
Dates,
meet
not
dates.
dating meetings,
Yes.
not
Sorry.
dating interviews, dating connections.
Yes. Don't do dating meetings. Sorry. Go into this amazing dates where you share yourself, have fun, have a blast. All right. See you next time, guys.